Tonight on Cronkite News, the city of Phoenix warning that funding for some key services could soon run out, and what services are in danger of disappearing.
Plus, a Category 5 hurricane is making its way through the Atlantic with no signs of stopping.
And a big name in Arizona football is stepping away from the sidelines. Details on why coming up. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Christopher Zavios. Thank you for joining us.
The city of Phoenix is at a crossroads to find a way to address the growing homelessness crisis as they're losing funding. Cronkite News reporter Edward Neiman spoke to service providers and those experiencing homelessness about how important these programs really are.
Service providers knew that COVID relief was a one-time payment, but they still relied on that funding. Now, Maricopa County has lost shelter beds and providers are trying to find ways to make up the money.
Brandy Baker doesn't consider herself homeless.
My partners and I, we're not homeless, we're houseless.
For now, Baker calls the corner near the Key campus in Phoenix home.
I have my clothes right here, I have water and food. My fiance's stuff is right there, and my service dog is over there in the shade.
Baker is just one of the thousands of people living without shelter in the city of Phoenix. As of January, over 3,700 people were sleeping unsheltered in the city. And for Baker, the most important thing is getting into a home.
The funding to actually help us get a home to call our own and to lay our head on a pillow, a bed, not dirt.
But millions of dollars in funding is running out.
Our community saw a closure of 1,000 emergency shelter beds last year because of that type of funding expiring, and we haven't seen a replacement for that money come in.
A.B. Schwabenlander runs the Key campus, which provides shelter, legal, medical, and dental services. She said federal COVID money from the American Rescue Plan Act was critical.
The time I've been doing this, it's never felt so unpredictable.
Now the city of Phoenix says that those funds are expiring and they'll need $22 million to make it up.
And all of that is coming to a close.
Rachel Milne is the director of the Phoenix Office of Homeless Solutions, which she said was almost entirely funded by COVID relief.
Opened 10 different projects, either city-owned or nonprofit-owned, that resulted in 1,200 new shelter beds in a 3-year period. And that's great that we had that money for all those construction projects. Now we need money to make sure that those projects are able to be maintained.
Still, county reports show more people are becoming homeless.
And we need to do more to help people stay housed.
The city considering spending its own money to fill the need.
Last year, we asked the City Council to invest an additional $4.5 million in general funds into the maintenance of those beds, and this year we will also be requesting general funds as well.
It's difficult for us. It really is, because when they think about cutting funding, they're cutting people out of resources that we need.
The government shutdown is adding to the funding problem, impacting many who are homeless, as the feds said that SNAP payments or food assistance will not go out on November 1st unless they reopen the government. In the newsroom, Edward Neiman, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Edward. We're just a little over a week away from Election Day in Arizona, and tomorrow marks an important date ahead of November 4th. Tomorrow, October 28th, is the last day to submit your mail-in ballot. Maricopa County Elections Office says ballots received after 7 p.m. on Election Day will not count. If you are not able to mail in your ballot by tomorrow, the County Recorder's Office recommends delivering your ballot to a secure ballot drop box or voting in person on Election Day. Drop box and polling site locations can be found at locations.maricopa.vote.
The State Board of Education is facing a funding problem. The state superintendent says that if they don't change the teaching standards, the state could lose hundreds of millions of dollars for classrooms. Cronkite News reporter Kira CB listened in as board members discuss what these changes could mean.
The changes are meant to follow a new order from President Trump removing diversity, equity, and inclusion language from schools. The administration will also require schools to remove multilingual services. State Superintendent Tom Horn says that the state risks $866 million in federal education funding if they don't make changes quickly. Board members said they have a lot of questions about how this process would work and voted 6-3 to postpone Superintendent Horn's proposal to revise teaching standards. Horn grew frustrated as members also moved to table a second item, a review of the state's structured English immersion framework.
And I'm fearful that if we act too slowly, we may get caught in a situation where we can't get it done in time and we're facing the axe from the federal government. I'm someone who values clarity. I thought I made it clear, but I'll reiterate. The charge is avoid an $800 million cut to our budget for our students.
Board members said that they want more clarity before moving forward. Both items are expected to return for a vote at the board's next meeting on December 8th. In the newsroom, Kira Seepy, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Department of Health has announced a recall of a marijuana product for possible lead contamination. The product is called Green Medicine, and the problem with one batch of a specific strain called Saints Bruce Banner. Potential lead exposure symptoms include fatigue, headache, and abdominal pain, with harsher symptoms occurring with high levels of exposure or exposure over a long period of time if you've ingested a potentially contaminated product or are experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention right away. The health department recommends disposing any products that are potentially contaminated.
And a scary ride on a hot air balloon for several people down in Marana after it crashed into a building. Police say the hot air balloon hit a newly constructed apartment building yesterday morning. It then landed in a nearby field. 7 people were on board, including the pilot. The good news, only minor injuries were reported, and it's not clear what happened, but the crash has been reported to the FAA.
Back here in the valley, volunteers worked today to clean up the destruction left behind by a microburst in Tempe. The volunteers from Team Rubicon helped to cut down trees and clear large debris left behind by the storm. More than 80 businesses and 1,000 homes were destroyed by the storm, which hit on October 13th. Many of the Team Rubicon's volunteers, members of the military, as well as retired first responders, and earlier today, one volunteer told us a little bit about what they do.
Chainsawing down trees. We do roof tarping if someone has a hole in their roof. So we're not contractors. We're just responding in a disaster to get them safe, to make sure their access is safe, and that if it rains again, that there's not rain coming into their living room.
Many members of Team Rubicon were also just in Globe, helping flood victims there before heading to Tempe.
Cleanup efforts are ongoing, and now we're going to take a look at how the storm was able to cause so much damage. Cronkite News reporter Kayla McDonald joins us now to show us just how strong that microburst was. Kayla?
That storm was so destructive because it had a microburst in it. Now, the last time the Phoenix area saw a microburst event like that was last summer on July 24th, where we had a storm just like that, where you have a severe storm that builds up super quickly, and then a lot of the water evaporates and it cannot hold its weight anymore. So it falls, coming crashing to the ground at high speeds, bringing that rain and all of that wind. Right here we have a velocity radar which shows winds heading towards the radar and going away. Right there is that super strong microburst that destroyed a warehouse last summer, and it shoots winds in all directions because there is nowhere for it to go when it comes crashing to the ground. Speaking of severe weather, we have Category 5 Hurricane Melissa off the coast of Jamaica right now, and it's projected to hit and make landfall around Tuesday afternoon. If it remains a Category 5, it will be the strongest hurricane in history to hit the area. Stay tuned for your Phoenix and Halloween forecast coming up.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up next, a county in Georgia is currently dealing with an uptick in an unusual type of crime.
That's right, Macy. The state officials busted some criminals who attempted to deliver a package of contraband using drones. We'll have more on how these illicit deliveries are impacting the surrounding area coming up on Cronkite News.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. we can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Back from the break, now for some stories around the world.
That's right, Chris. And for the first story, we're coming out of France. Parisian officials say they arrested suspects connected to the 7-minute heist pulled off at the Louvre last week. Officials took 2 men into custody after analyzing over 150 pieces of DNA evidence from the scene. The French police believe 2 other men who were involved are still on the run. And unfortunately for the Louvre, whose crown jewels, which are worth more than 9 figures, were not recovered alongside the arrests.
And next we go to the continent of Asia, which is where President Trump has been these past few days. The president has 3 stops planned: Malaysia, Japan, and China. The focus of the president's visit to Asia is trade, specifically trying to align the international economy with his America First vision. President Trump is also set to meet with the Chinese leader in an effort to finalize a trade agreement between the world's 2 biggest economies.
And back here in the States, a prison in rural Georgia has seen an uptick in an unusual form of criminal activity. A local sheriff says some criminals have turned to drones to smuggle contraband. Earlier in the year, the county made 11 arrests for attempted contraband drops into the state prison. Since then, that number's risen to 17. To make matters more complicated, the sheriff said nearly half the inmates in the county jail are there for attempted prison drops. One resident said in March he caught criminals who were using his front yard as a takeoff area for one of their deliveries.
Thousands of people are still without power in the Pacific Northwest. All of this is almost a full day after the region got hit by a powerful storm that downed power lines. The storm first began on Friday as an atmospheric river moved into the western Washington. The storm dumped heavy rain and brought strong wind gusts with as high as 77 miles per hour. The storm lasted the whole weekend, and even now, thousands are without power. Unfortunately, no timeline yet for when the power will be back on.
And while the Pacific Northwest may be known for its rain, here in the valley we're known for quite the opposite: sunlight and heat.
That's right, Macy. We have a lot of it on the way. Kayla McDonald joins us from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast. Kayla?
Yeah, it's still feeling a little warm even in the evening hours, where we're going to be in the 80s around the 6 to 7 o'clock hour, and even around 10 o'clock it's going to be 75 degrees. But we're going to cool down even more overnight, where those morning lows are going to feel much nicer with 67 in Phoenix, 63 in Casa Grande, 64 in Gila Bend. Now up north, really cold, below freezing up here, 10 degrees below freezing at Window Rock with 22 degrees. Flagstaff 30 degrees, the Grand Canyon 31 degrees, all below freezing. That is chilly. But for those highs during the day up north, it's going to heat up quite a bit, where you have 63 at Window Rock, 59 in Flagstaff, 61 at the Grand Canyon. Now the southern part of the state, it is warm. We're back up in the 90s, 93 at Phoenix, 90 in Casa Grande, 94 at Gila Bend. It is warm down there. Now for Halloween, it's still going to feel a little warm. So if you're wearing those long sleeve costumes or walking around quite a bit, please make sure you bring some water, because it's going to still be 85 degrees around 5, 79 at 7 p.m. And at 9 p.m. it's going to be 74 degrees. For that 8-day forecast, tomorrow's high is going to be 93 degrees, with our lows consistently throughout the week going to be in the 60s, which will feel nice. We're going to have a dramatic drop, almost 10 degrees to our high on Wednesday being 84. And on Friday with Halloween, we're going to have some cloud cover, which is going to help our daily high stay around 87 degrees. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Kayla McDonald.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up next, we'll take a look at what makes sports fans the way they are.
Cardinal fans especially. The losing season's hurt, but being a fan at their best means you're a fan at their worst. Find out how everyday people deal with the stress of sports fandom right after the break.
you meet so many new people who are on different communities. And when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. Lots to talk about today. We begin with Sun Devil football. Coming off a really rough weekend, Cronkite News reporter London Christensen has more on the Sun Devil suffering.
ASU suffered a tough loss at home against Houston on Saturday night, and yesterday the Sun Devils suffered another loss, this time with the coaching staff. Assistant head coach and special teams coordinator Charlie Regal is taking a step away from the team due to health conditions. Head coach Kenny Dillingham spoke more about the change today.
You know, sad day for me yesterday. Coach Regal, my high school head coach, came in and said he needs to take a medical leave of absence, just get himself right. You know, he's been dealing with some things for quite a few years now, and it's just kind of come to a head where he's got to, get right and get healthy. And he was instrumental to be 5-3 right now, which a lot of teams would want to be, and to what we did last year. And it's weird coming in the office without him. I've never been a head coach without, him right there next to my office. So
the Sun Devils will look to regroup on Saturday when they head to Iowa State to take on the Cyclones. In Tempe, London Christensen, Cronkite News.
Dillingham and Regal just so close. Now ASU was without one of its top offensive weapons on Saturday night, and his absence was definitely felt on the field. Sun Devils lost their first game at home this season to the Houston Cougars without wide receiver Jordan Tyson, who missed the game with a hamstring injury. Without JT, the offense struggled. Definitely no consistency, and it was more than Tyson's absence causing that Devils O to be hamstrung. With quarterback Sam Levitt getting knocked out of the game on two separate occasions, ASU fell behind 24-0 through three quarters. They did rally in the fourth before falling 24-16. Head coach Kenny Dillingham says the loss came down to more than just missing one player.
You got to look at the facts, and the facts are we lost the turnover battle. We had too many penalties. We lost field position. We couldn't stop the +1 run game. And those have nothing to do with Jordan. And but, yes, not having Jordan Tyson 100% is going to have an effect in the football game.
And Sun Devil fans will have to wait till Wednesday to hear more on the status of Tyson and Levitt after Coach Dillingham said he wouldn't comment on their situations. But the injury bug didn't stick to just current Sun Devils. Former ASU star Cam Scadaboo saw his season come to an abrupt end after he dislocated his right ankle on Sunday. Dillingham did talk about Scadaboo's outlook.
Really sad deal. That dude's just worked his butt off his entire life to get to where he's at. But it's a great example of if you treat people well, regardless of how he rehabs and regardless of his future, he's going to be successful based off how he treated people, the passion he played the game through football in 10 years and 15 years. That dude has built a brand for himself that's sustainable, and it's unfortunate what happened to him, but his success in life, is still going to be there.
And Scat took to social media with a message for fans. We have his tweet here stating surgery went well. I just want to thank the city of Philly for taking the best care of me. Every moment I spend in the hospital with family and friends, I felt loved and supported in every way. Thank you to the doctors, surgeons, and staff that did their best work on me. This is just the beginning of my journey, and I can't wait to show you guys all about it. Man, you can tell the impact Scadaboo has made in just a short amount of time as you watch the reactions of his teammates and fans after the brutal injury. I bet they can't wait for this guy's comeback. And speaking of comebacks, after that home opener comeback against the Kings to start the season, well, the Suns have lost by over 20 points in the 2 games since then. Jordan Ott still trying to lay a foundation in his first games as an NBA head coach. Devin Booker, he's been filling the stat sheet, but if teams keep scoring 130 plus against the Suns like the Clippers and the Nuggets, that Phoenix first-round pick is going to be pretty valuable in the next NBA draft, but not for the Suns. Earlier in the Ishbia era, the Suns traded that asset to the Magic for multiple later picks. Then Orlando sent it to Memphis this summer for Desmond Bane. Bottom line, the Suns should be all in on a winning season. That's life in the Valley of the Sports, I guess. Cards fans have been in this wild ride for a while. But even with a 5-game losing streak, fans continue to hope for something better, and their loyalty is still looking strong.
I'm in my grave that Arizona Cardinals win at least one Super Bowl.
Being a sports fan isn't easy, and being a Cardinals fan is even harder. TikTok content creator and diehard Cardinals fan Michael Carranza has been a fan of the Cardinals since he was just 13 years old. And a decade later, the team has still not accomplished much.
We lost to the Titans in a very embarrassing fashion, but it's the Arizona Cardinals. They've done this multiple times before. I've already been used to this.
So far, the season has been abysmal for the Cardinals, with 5 straight losses, 3 of these losses coming in the fourth quarter, and losing these games by only a combined total of 13 points. But fans have stuck around, shown up, and shown out. But the question is, why? I spoke with Dr. Daniel Wan of Murray State University, who is able to provide a bit of insight onto whether or not fans are truly out of their minds.
The reality is, the craziest thing about sports fans is that we are sports fans. I'm telling you, it's the only voluntary activity where half of the consumer base knows that they're going to be disappointed when they finish consuming the product.
And the craziest thing about Cardinals fans is the fact that they're Cardinals fans. The mentality of coming into a game and expecting your team to lose should drive fans away. But it never does, because there's always next year.
They see the future as being brighter than it probably is going to be. Because again, one way to cope with the disappointment of today is to look at the excitement for tomorrow.
The Cardinals had a bye this week, and fans like Mikey are hoping some offensive momentum will be able to come out of this. But at the end of the day, it's not about the wins or losses. It's about sticking out the tough times in hopes of something better. In Glendale, Lainey Napoli, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Lainey. Coming off their bye, the Cardinals will face the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas November 3rd and then play the 49ers at home on the 16th. Fans will be sure to watch that divisional matchup between those two. And now we dive into another edition of the Weekend Wows with the moments that wowed us the most. We begin with Sun Devil tight end and 5th-year senior Cameron Harpole, who after 42 college football games, including 13 starts, finally scored a touchdown. Harpole spent his first 3 seasons at San Diego State before he became a Sun Devil. What a moment for the big guy. Unfortunately, Devils couldn't come away with the win. But how about these Devils? The Territorial Cup down in Tucson. ASU took that win after a crazy play, a dig and 2 hits. Sun Devils found the sweet spot in that Wildcats defense. What a moment there for the team. And finally, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. We're going north of the border in Toronto. He threw his 2nd straight complete game in the playoffs, becoming the first pitcher to do so since Arizona's own Curt Schilling. He actually threw 3 straight complete games in their run to the World Series title in 2001. But look at this guy deal. Yamamoto has been unreal this postseason. We'll see who's going to win it all. That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. Thanks for joining us. Now back to Macy and Chris.
Thanks, Max. And coming up next, as we get closer to Halloween, some homeowners are taking their decorations to the next level.
That's right, and one woman in Minnesota is getting major attention for her spooky and sparkly tribute to a popular singer. The homeowner is bringing every era of the singer to their house this Halloween. Any guesses on who that singer is? Find out after the break.
A house in Minneapolis is getting attention for Halloween decorations themed entirely after Taylor Swift.
The owner referred to the spectacle as The Life of a Showghoul, a play on the title of Swift's latest album, The Life of a Showgirl.
The display includes skeletons in bedazzled costumes, haunted versions of Swift's album's covers, and even a nod to her cats. Visitors can also exchange friendship bracelets and bookmarks, a common practice at her concerts. That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Christopher Zavaios. Thank you for joining us.